Hi, everybody. I'm Dwanna Robertson. I'm an assistant professor of race, ethnicity, and migration studies. And I am the assistant professor of Indigenous studies, is the way that I was hired. So I'm also affiliated with anthropology. So I'm really happy that you all came today to support Jordan Churchwell, whom I have known for a while. So now let me tell you a little bit about Jordan. Jordan grew up in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles County, and he started working on digital art and media in high school and has done filmmaking projects ever since. Ryan Johnson, the director of Looper and Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which I liked, even tweeted out some of his visual effects work. So coming to Colorado College, he decided to focus his academics on sustainability rather than filmmaking. He designed his own major, which combines areas of economics, environmental science, and sociology. I'm a sociologist. To create what he's called sustainable global societies. And at the same time, he's also the co-founder of the multiracial affinity group of Colorado College, and has been involved with NASU, the Native American Student Union, which is where he and I met last year. We mobilized with NASU to the Standing Rock Reservation to help out at camp, and we both returned again separately and took more of a role on the front lines. I get a little emotional about that. The energy and love he experienced there, despite almost being arrested, me too, right? You too, Brando, Judy, yeah. Despite almost being arrested, pushed him to continue advocating for Indigenous and environmental rights. And that's why, when it came to his thesis, he wanted to combine his passion for filmmaking, sustainability, and Indigenous lifeways into one succinct piece. And that's exactly what he's done in his short documentary, Indigenous Climate. I can't be more proud of Jordan's work. When we started meeting last year, this wasn't an easy, we had to talk through it, and we had to go back and forth. And this film has been, he's been creating this film since the beginning of the year. So it's not something that he went out and did easily, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the theoretical grounding of the film. And so without further ado, I'm so excited and delighted to welcome Jordan Churchwell to the stage. Christina Lezzo was his second reader as well, so I want to make sure I give you the things.
Thank you so much, Dwanna, for the introduction, and thank you everybody for coming. This is awesome. I really appreciate all the support and interest, also from those who couldn't make it today. First, I do want to give a big shout out, specifically Christina Lezza and Suzanne in the anthropology department, who helped make all the food happen. So that's shout out to all my Bridge scholars, Quest Bridge scholars, and basically everyone who's here represent. So thanks for coming. As Dwanna mentioned, my name is Jordan Churchwell, and I think it's important to note that I don't identify as Indigenous. I identify as mixed. And in many different Native American spaces that I've been a part of, it's very important that everyone recognizes their lineage, whatever it may be, and however much they may know of it. After all, it's pretty inseparable from where we find ourselves today. And so that being said, my mom is white American, my dad is black American. My biological father immigrated from the Philippines, and I have multiple bloodlines that I don't really know about. So that's why I primarily identify as mixed. Now, I mentioned it in the film, but the definition of Indigenous that I'm using, it's a working definition, so by no means concrete, but by Daniel Wildcat of the Yuchi tribe. And that is people who have, over generations, traditionally inherited their sense of identity from the landscape around them. Excuse me. And so with this, there's this kind of fundamental connection to Mother Earth and the natural world. And part of why I think this is really important is because it seems like today a lot of us kind of feel or are isolated. You know, modern society, modern cities and technology kind of isolates us, not just from the natural world, but also each other a lot of the time. So what we're seeing happen is our technology, whether it's landfills, factories, whatever, coupled with questionable morals, our technology is shielding some of us from our environmental negligence while displacing the consequences onto less fortunate communities, particularly economically impoverished and communities of color. Sorry. So, that being said, when we're talking about these issues of environmental racism and injustice, it's imperative to recognize that indigenous peoples, as their livelihoods are very directly connected to the natural world, they're the ones on the front lines. They're the ones being killed when it comes to these issues, not your typical liberal politicians. And so that's why, for me, when I was offered an incredible opportunity with Professor Mark Smith to attend the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, their 23rd Conference of the Parties, or COP23 as they call it, I knew I had to focus my time and research on indigenous peoples, rights, and knowledges. And many of you probably are familiar with the Paris Agreement. That happened at COP21. At COP23, which is where I was, it was led by Fiji and held in Bonn, Germany, for logistical reasons. And it was truly an amazing experience that I'm incredibly grateful I had, and I have many, many takeaways from it, one of which was my film. And so that's where the bulk of it comes from. I did film some B-roll and talk to a few people also in the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and different parts of the US as well. Not all of which, of course, made it into the film. But I do want to say this is my first ever documentary. So you might see some room for improvement. I know I certainly do. But if not to improve, why are we here? So I'll stop talking now and hopefully let the film and those in it speak for themselves. So yeah, once again, thank you everyone for coming, and
Will you have time for a little Q&A after the film?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah. So yeah, we can do a little Q&A. So if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to ask it in. Yeah.